Member Athabasca Sturgeon Redwater.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Although the grain harvest seems to have gone well in much of the province, many parts of north central and northeast Alberta are not so fortunate. Because of the wet spring, many farmers were forced to seed later in the season and are now scrambling to bring in their crops against rain and snow. To the Minister of Agriculture, could the Minister update the House on the harvest progress to date and where there might be areas of concern?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to the member for the important question. Last year's harvest was certainly a challenge, and that continued into the spring with wet conditions in many parts of the province. While crops in some regions did get planted later than usual, producers have been very busy this fall, and the vast majority of the harvest is in. As of this week, about 98.6% of crops have been harvested, leaving about 170,000 acres still unharvested. But compared to 1 million last year, I'm being very optimistic this year, Mr. Speaker, that our harvest is going very well. Thank you.
First supplemental.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the same minister, given the number of farmers that may be impacted this year, glad to hear it's a few less than it looked like a week ago. What plans do AFSC have in place to expedite claims adjustment and settlement?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and again to the member. First off, I'd like to thank the crop commissions from Team Alberta for their work representing their members by providing the AFSC, the department, and my office with day-to-day information throughout the harvest. This valuable insight comes to how the government and AFSC can help producers get crops in the bin. Last season was marked with very difficult weather. In response to this, I directed AFSC to take action to streamline its processes in order to deal with the high volume of claims. This season, we've seen much better weather for harvest, so process has not been an issue. That said, AFSC and department staff learned a lot from last year's harvest, and we'll look into ways to be able to expedite.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Second supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that last year many farmers in my riding questioned whether the present insurance coverage is sufficient and how it addresses their costs and cover their needs, in the recent talks with our federal partners, was there any discussion on improving the program?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again to the member. Taxpayers have long been supporting crop insurance as a very valuable way for our farmers to manage business risk, so they can put food on Alberta's tables and onto the market. The RME programs are robust and largely work well, but sometimes it's good to see if they can work even better. This was a topic during federal-provincial discussions, and we're currently undergoing a review of business risk management products within the current federal and provincial agreement. As part of this review, last week I had a roundtable with agriculture stakeholders to find out more where those opportunities for improvement are, and I look forward to more opportunities to discuss with producers.